For years, I've been haunted by this one thought. What if I look back one day and regret wasting my life working the job I hate instead of building a business I could be proud of? But lately, another question has crept in. What if I spend years not being as happy as I could have been because I was working my ass off trying to escape that job? And what if the whole time I was so busy trying to build a life or build a better life that I forgot to live the one I already have? My name's Andy and welcome to the channel. And before I share the solution to this little problem, let's talk about the problem and why so many of us struggle with it. The trade we don't realise we're making. So there's a quote from James Clear that I think sums this up. This is his book, Atomic Habits. Stop trading things that matter for things that don't. So in this context, we usually trade in our time, energy, and overall enjoyment of the present moment for the potential of more money, more growth, more success, more whatever in the future. And a lot of the time we don't even really know what we're trying to get more of. It just feels like we should be pushing ourselves to achieve more, but more what? Like wealth? And I think a lot of us can get caught up in this because wealth, or at least financial wealth, is easy to measure. Like you can look at the number of digits in your bank account, or the size of your gaff, or your new job title, head of something important. But it's a lot more difficult to measure lifestyle. So we tend not to measure how happy we are on a Monday morning or even a Sunday night when you're dreading the Monday morning. But we don't really keep score of how peaceful we feel. But I can tell you now, your body does, and chronic stress will add up. So how many of us record how often we get to pick our kids up from daycare or school? It's hard to measure stuff like that. And because it's hard to measure or even see, we forget to prioritize it. The status trap. A lot of it seems to come down to what we've been trained to do by society, and we're applauded for things which can be seen by others. For example, you're praised for having a nice car, regardless of how much finance is on it, by the way. You're praised for having a big house. Your parents are proud of you for having an important job title, even if inside you can't stand that job. And then the things which are becoming more important to me the older I get, and the more I realize how important they are, they're harder for other people to notice, and therefore we don't receive the positive reinforcement externally. So most people can't tell how calm you feel inside, or how well you've been sleeping, how often you feel proud of who you are. And don't get me wrong, the people close to you will know, because they'll benefit massively from it, right? Because you'll just be happier. But society at large won't celebrate those achievements, and strangers definitely won't. But who even cares about strangers? I don't normally do this, but if you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. I'm trying to test the algorithm to see if it makes a difference. And if you can help me get to 30 likes, I'll be extremely grateful. The real definition of success. So what's the real definition of success? I used to think that unless I was all in on my business, I'd never build a successful one. I used to say to myself and others, if you're trying to only make a bit of money on the side, then you're only ever going to put a bit of effort in on the side, and that's never going to be enough. So that was kind of like my mantra. But what if I was wrong? Like, what if success isn't quitting your job and making millions? What if it's just, I don't know, building something you enjoy, something that fits into your life instead of swallowing it completely? What if success is just having options, like enjoying your days, being able to provide for your family, having enough money so that you don't have a panic attack every time like a new or unexpected bill arrives, doing all of that while still having time to pick your kids up from school or watching them play sports on the weekend? Yeah, maybe that's success. The self-improvement trap. I've been hearing more and more about something called the self-improvement trap, and I think maybe I'm a recovering self-improver. So I've read and listened to so many books, and they generally encourage you to do good things. So work out, eat well, start a business, meditate, journal, dip your balls in an ice bucket. What? They are smart moves, but there's a dark side to it. So it tricks you into thinking that you're not ready to enjoy life yet. Like, enjoying life is for the future you, it's not for the present you, because there's so much work to be done. and you tell yourself things like, oh, I'll be happy when I've hit 6 figures, or I'll be happy when I get 1,000 subs on my YouTube channel. I'll be happy when I've run a marathon. I'll be happy when I've bought a house. But I don't know if that's true. So like, if you can't be happy without those things, when you get them, yeah, you'll have the sugar rush for a while. But I think when that wears off, you'll be in the exact same situation, because the bar will have moved and you'll have new things to strive for before you'll allow yourself to be happy. So you'll move to a better neighborhood, cool, but now you need a better car because all of your neighbors have got really good cars, and then you end up stuck doing work you don't like just to buy stuff you don't need to impress people you don't even know. I just want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to Zero. If you're running a small business or you're about to start a side hustle, I swear by Zero, it'll make keeping track of your business's finances an absolute doddle. There's a link in the description that'll get you 90% off. So I think the basic package works out like $3.50 per month or something, which is absolutely mad. It's an affiliate link, but I've been using it myself for over 10 years and I've been recommending it to friends and family for just as long. So give it a go. Being versus becoming. All right, so now let's get to the most important part, balancing being with becoming. So being content with what you have while still wanting to grow, because let's be real, it's just not practical to sit around on a rock all day meditating, as much as that sounds nice sometimes. We do need money to just basically exist. That's the life we live in. That's the way it is. That's the system. No point complaining about it. But like we've just spoke about, if you make money, or if you make earning money your sole purpose for your whole life, you kind of miss the point of life. So we need to appreciate the now while still building for later. And that's the challenge. That's the real challenge. Like, if I look back at my life, I've probably been a pendulum, okay, swinging from too far one way to too far the other way. And I'm all right with that, to be honest, because I've had some amazing times, some amazing fun memories, and I'm also happy with my achievements so far. But moving forwards, as I get older, I'm trying to keep it a bit more balanced, so the pendulum's like in the middle rather than, wow, too much fun, too much work, you know? So it's like, okay, it's like going on a trip, and if you're just too focused on the destination, you miss the scenery. But if you focus too much on the scenery, you're going to end up in the middle of nowhere, like bloody Shepperton. No, I like Shepperton, nothing against Shepperton. A few things that help. So I think most people can agree on paper that balance is good, and we might even sometimes try and implement more balance in our life, but then it's not long before that just gets like thrown out the window. And that's often because the habits, patterns, timetables, and the expectations of others are already set in place. I've tried a lot of the usual stuff you see recommended here and there, and there are a few things that work, a lot that didn't. I think a lot of the things just are trying to get some money out of you. But here are a few things that have worked anyway, that are easy to implement and have actually helped. So first up, rest like an athlete, right? So it's pretty common for athletes to nap during the day after training. So go training in the morning or whatever, and then have a nap in the afternoon. Wouldn't that be nice? I only just discovered that like a couple of years ago, and I was like, I cannot believe this. Not only are they just playing football all morning, they then have a lovely nap, right? Mental. So anyway, I digress. The point is, they do it because they know how important rest is for recovery. So they're taking naps before they get injured as a preventative measure, so it helps the body recover. That means you should take a break too. So before your eye starts twitching and your sanity's hanging on by a thread, like, take a break. So you can call it active recovery if you want, and it doesn't even mean just sleeping. Like, it basically means taking some time off to give your brain and your body and your nervous system a break. So burning out from not taking breaks, that's not ambition as much as it's glorified. It's just poor planning. So it's hard to do, I get it, but stop thinking of it as being lazy and start thinking of it as refueling. The number 2, gratitude. Now, yeah, we all know what that means, but I think it's easy to get it into your life more often by having gratitude triggers. So if you're watching this video, I'm sure you already know that gratitude is important and how good it is. I don't need to sell it to you. But when we're busy, we often go days without taking a moment to be grateful. So This is where you can use an external gratitude trigger to remind you. I'm not religious, but I think religion does this very well, because at least once a week when you go to your place of worship or whatever, you're literally reminded to give thanks for what you've got. So you might want to set an alarm on your phone that says, oi, what's good in your life right now? Whatever works for you, you know. Like when I first moved to Melbourne all those many moons ago, every day when I took the train home from work, I'd be looking out the window and I'd see the Eureka Tower in Melbourne CBD, and the sun would be low in the sky, and just the way it would hit it and reflect it off it would just look sick. And that would be my external trigger to just think about how grateful I am for living in Melbourne and how grateful I am for my life. Like literally just a few seconds, that's all it takes. It's not hard to do, but remembering to do it is the hard part. And thirdly, track what actually matters. So like I said at the start of the video, we're naturally inclined to focus on things that are easily tracked. So decide on some lifestyle areas that you'd like to see improvement in and figure out a way to measure it. What's the saying? What you measure, you improve, maybe something like that. Let me know in the comments if I've butchered that. I'm a bit too much into data perhaps, so there's pros and cons to it, but I find gamifying things really helps. I brought a Garmin watch, and an unexpected benefit is I'm now tracking my sleep and my HRV, making sure I'm going to bed early enough because I don't want to, you know, get my stats all bad or whatever. Like it's like a game kind of thing. Staying hydrated, keeping alcohol as a rare treat, all these things I've now sort of gamified, but you don't have to do that. Do what works for you. It can be as simple as keeping count of how many times you exercise each week, or how many times you do a little yoga video workout on YouTube, you know, how many times you watched your kid play football each month. They're the real KPIs that you need to be measuring. The rest is bollocks. And fourthly, is fourthly a word? Anyway, the fourth tip is that balance isn't 50-50, it's a pendulum. So I touched on this earlier. Sometimes we wrongly assume that balance means a precise 50-50 split on a pie chart or whatever, or that would mean that the pendulum just doesn't move, it's in the middle, because you're 50% work and 50% play and rest, but it actually swings, right? So the goal here is to recognize when it's swinging too far one way and then adjust to bring it back before you get sick, or before you end up with no sort of income because you've been playing too much. It's different for everyone, and some people probably need to rest or play less, like if you're in your early 20s and you're just going mad all the time. But I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you probably side towards overworking, and it's different depending what season of your life you're in as well. So in my 20s, I barely rested at all because I didn't need to. Well, I thought I didn't, maybe I did, but these days that definitely doesn't work. Okay, I get absolutely knackered and things start going wrong. My body starts letting me know. So some weeks you absolutely need to smash your side hustle because that's what it takes, and you're going to be up late every night doing something important. Other weeks you might just need to take a complete break to refresh and revitalize yourself, ready to perform at a higher level the week after. And needing a rest isn't failure, it's just life. I think at the moment, or maybe it's getting better, definitely I think a few years ago it peaked with the whole hustle culture thing. But yeah, we need to prioritize it. If you're not sold on that by the end of the video, then I don't think I can ever sell you on it anyway. But if you can cultivate a lifestyle where that is possible, in my mind, you're winning. So remember what I said earlier, you want options. So if you don't have the option to enjoy life, then what's the point? Seriously, this isn't a personal curse. And if this all feels like a constant internal tug of war, good, it means you're normal. So anyone with an ounce of drive wrestles with this every day, wanting to be better, but also being happy with who you are right now. That's the tug of war, that's the challenge, that's the struggle. Wanting more success in your business, but not at the cost of every other area of your life, right? So wanting to leave a mark on the world, but also wanting to enjoy the world, or even sometimes just enjoy your lunch break, do you know what I mean? And this lifestyle tug of war, it's not a bug in the system, it is the system. So next time you find yourself asking, should I be doing more? Should I be pushing myself more? you need to stop and ask yourself, well, hang on, if I do that, am I trading something that matters for something that doesn't? Because if you already have something that kind of resembles the life you want, maybe blowing all that up to chase a little bit more isn't the one. So it's only natural to feel like you could be doing better. But this video here will show you 8 signs that you're doing better in life than you think. So I really recommend taking a look at that. Cheers guys, subscribe if you found this useful. Catch you next time.